Hey guys, Spencer Young here. So for this field trip assignment, I decided to attend a Catholic Mass. It was a Saturday night Mass to be specific. But finding a tradition that's not my own is somewhat difficult because I began my journey with Jesus in Catholic school, then moved to a Protestant church, then into conservative evangelical Christianity, and I'm now part of a very non-charismatic expression of a charismatic denomination. But nevertheless, I haven't really been immersed in the Catholic Mass since middle school, so I thought it would be neat for this assignment to revisit that and see what I could learn. One of the things I noticed right away was the Catholic emphasis on the transcendent nature of God. And that was coupled with the communal or the collective nature of our relationship with Him. These are basic conceptions in the Catholic faith. It was one of those things like I'm sitting there and all of a sudden like all the things I learned about in my religion classes in Catholic school were coming back to me. And I was seeing the contrast. But I saw these things, these basic conceptions play out in the rules of this worship service, the way in which they conducted this rite. For example, after the procession of the priest to the hymn All Creatures, the priest greeted us by saying, "Good evening," and as one, right? It's not individual. It was as one. The entire congregation answered back, "Good evening, Father." They acted as one. Even during the exchanging of a sign of peace, they acted as one, using the same words to greet one another. What I found interesting, though, is that the woman I spoke with afterward had recently married a Protestant. She was raised Catholic, grew up going to Catholic Mass. It was just something that her family did, and it was something that she couldn't remember not doing. But now that she was married to a Protestant, they would take turns each Sunday. So one Sunday they would attend Mass. The next Sunday they would attend a Protestant service at her husband's church. And as we talked, it became apparent to me that the reason she so loved the Protestant service was because of the basic conceptions that differentiate Protestantism from Catholicism. So in contrast to the Catholic faith, Protestantism is a tradition that focuses on our personal relationship with God as individuals, instead of on the transcendent nature of God and our sort of collective relationship with Him. So I found it very interesting that this woman who'd grown up Catholic wasn't leaving the Catholic Church. She was still very much involved. She was attending Catholic Mass at least 2 or 3 times a month and still loved the Catholic Church. But she also needed something from the Protestant tradition as well. She needed to balance the transcendent with the personal. She needed to balance the collective with the individual. And so I found that very interesting. One last thing I'll leave you guys with is the Catholics, they lived out in the rules of this worship rite a basic conception of the sovereignty of God as king. And I hadn't noticed this before. It just seemed like a whole bunch of religious jargon to me when I was in middle school. But one of the things that I noticed is before Catholics enter the pews, they will kneel and do the sign of the cross. And the priest, after he completes his procession, he kneels before the altar. Well, that's what worship means in the Bible. Proskuneo is the word, one of the words in Greek that's translated as worship. It means to bow. And so Catholics, by the rules of this ritual service, are living out. They're living out that basic conception. So, as someone who will plant a church one day, the tension of this woman that she sort of was balancing between Catholicism and Protestantism left me wondering how we might hold these two in tension. How my church might hold these two in tension as we conduct ourselves, right? Think rules in the holistic character tradition. But I thought it was neat. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about it. And I look forward to talking with you soon.